I think Shelby Knox has an extremely good point. She's trying to get her school district to realize that not everyone can pledge to the abstinence only policy. That she understands that there are people who are gonna make a different decision either under pressure or just because they feel that they want to do something else besides abstinence. The fact that she is going to stand up and fight for that and try and change what the school is saying and even what the influence of the church has on the school, I think that takes a lot of determination, and it's really cool to see her stand up for what she believes in and try and get change in her school system.
I would say something to the pastor, because I thought he was so uptight. He called himself a strong Christian, but yet he was unwavering. He was intolerant, and if he's really such a follower of God, then he would know that he's supposed to be more like Christ, and Christ was tolerant.
Abstinence-only programs aren't working. If they were working, then there wouldn't be so many pregnant teenagers in my school. So maybe they should teach more things about safe sex, like condoms or the birth control pill or the shot or other forms of contraceptive.
I think that schools should be teaching a pro-abstinence sex ed, because I think abstinence definitely is the best choice against STD and pregnancy prevention, because obviously if you're not having sex, you're not going to get either one. But I think it's not realistic, because sex is also a biological thing, and with all your hormones acting up and stuff when you're a teenager, I mean, abstinence is pretty hard to do. So, like, if students are motivated enough to actually engage in abstinence, then I think, good for them. But for everybody else, they need to know the facts and, like how to use a condom and stuff like that. You just need to know how to do that stuff, and you need the facts on which to base a decision, not just do abstinence, because that's a message that's just kind of confusing.
I didn't agree with the way that they handled the sexual education at Shelby Knox's school, because I feel that they basically told the kids what to do. They didn't give them any alternatives, and that's not how it is in the real world. You have to learn to make your own decisions and to make the right decisions. And I feel like the scene where they're making the promise in front of God and their parents and their future spouses, I feel that probably a lot of kids felt a lot of pressure to say that, and they might not have agreed with what they were doing, but being surrounded by their parents and other people making that decision, they most likely felt pressured to do it. What I've learned from church about sex is that you should practice abstinence until you're married, and you shouldn't be sexually active until you're married. But some of my friends don't really agree with that.
Teenagers are having sex, and they are going to have sex before marriage. And the fact is that abstinence only doesn't work anymore. What's it? I think one of the stats was that 1 in 14 girls in the Texas town gets pregnant every year. I mean, that's 2 people in my classes, in each class I have every year, getting pregnant. I mean, that's a scary statistic. I think we need to open up and see that safe sex is a better way to teach sexuality than abstinence. I learned a lot about sexually transmitted diseases, a lot more than I'd ever known or my parents knew. And I learned a lot about just communication and relationships, which was important, because it's a lot easier to learn these things in the classroom than to learn them on your own.
These pressures throughout school are definitely there, and they've always been there, and they will always be there. Because of sex ed and because of my parents, I will, throughout my whole life, make better choices. And this is because I know what's out there, and I have the power to make the correct choice.